Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, today I'm delighted to be joined by Lithuanian-based death metal band Crypts of Despair. Today we've got guitarist, vocalist DA. So first of all, I have to ask how you're doing, mate, and how's the situation over there in Lithuania with all this COVID nonsense? Are things getting any better?
Thank you for having me. Being great, I guess. I mean, probably as everyone else. Situation is, I'm not even actually like tracking it anymore. Yeah. I got all my vaccines. I was also infected with COVID as well. And I'm just like not really like caring anymore. Yeah. Numbers are up and down all the time. And so far, no closures, no quarantines. Okay. But we'll see. You never know. It changes like every 2 to like 4 weeks. So yeah. I don't know how it's going to be. Yeah.
It's the same over here. There's been various lockdowns and things like that, but when the government themselves have parties and things and we're all doing the lockdowns and following the rules, I don't think they'll enforce that again. But listen, we're not here to talk about COVID and all that nonsense. We're here to talk about all things Crypts of Despair. So in April of last year then, you released your second album, All Light Swallowed. So you couldn't have picked a worse time to release an album, but was it a case of you had the songs ready to get it out there, or was the album planned to be released sooner than it actually was?
Yeah, well, it was, the plan was to release it sooner, the year before, because that was, I think was the 10-year anniversary for the band. So we wanted to make this kind of occasion, but we found the label like in January that year, and it took some time to get mastering done, all the other stuff with the label, the cues that the label had, you know, and we didn't know that the COVID stuff will happen. So, and we thought like there's no point in waiting until it's over, because nobody knows when it's gonna be fully over. So we just release it. I mean, many things combined together, I guess.
Yeah. So I noticed that it was like 4 years in between releases. So was it fair to say that some of the songs were quite old before its actual release? Yeah.
Basically, what happened with the first album and with this one, all the songs are way older than actual like release. So for example, some of the songs from the new album, like the first one, Being Erased, it's like now it's probably like 8 years old.
Wow.
Something, it's always with me, it's like everything is like ahead of like I did the first album, but I had almost half of the new album already.
Okay.
So it's always like that because of the the first album supposed to be released 8 years ago, but we were on hiatus, and then you know, all the lineup changes and so on, and all the life stuff happened. So it was until the first album I kept on creating the new one and just went.
Sure.
Here we are.
Sure. So with it almost being a year old then, looking back on it, would there be anything that you would change about it? Like, are you happy with the sound? You're happy with the production, the artwork, the actual songs themselves? Would there be anything that you would change?
Yeah, well, you know, I try always not to think about this, what I would change and so on, because when you release the album, it's like actual like picture of everything, how it was back then. So some were decisions that we made, and all the processes and so on. That's how it's supposed to be. So I would not change anything.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. But you just mentioned there that as soon as an album's released, you've already started writing songs for the next release. So is that similar then? Have you already got songs songs in progress for your next release?
Yeah. Probably it's the first time we mentioned this anywhere, but it's like we have 28 minutes of new material already.
Excellent.
So it's like more than a half the album is done.
Yeah.
So it will take a while before we go to the studio, because we are thinking like new different things for a new album. So we're gonna take it a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Not sure if probably not gonna take like another 4 or 5 years, but
I hope not, personally.
Yeah, well, if everything will go well, we probably will go to record an album maybe next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we have new stuff already.
So I noticed that in your band's existence, you've released 2 albums. Is it always going to be an album that you're going to release, or with the 28 minutes that you've got ready, have you thought about releasing an EP, or has it always been in your mind to know album number 3?
There's no such, it's not a conscious decision to do that. I mean, it's just, I'm not against any EPs or demos or something. It was just always like, okay, we have enough stuff to release a full album. So, I mean, why not? Maybe for a new album, since we have like very different stuff coming up, maybe we will release a special EP for the songs of that album in particular. So I'm not going to disclose more, but maybe it's like in in discussion within the band.
Yeah. I almost got an exclusive there. Almost got an exclusive. But sometimes as a reviewer, when you get an EP, it's got like 3 or 4 songs on it and it's absolutely brilliant, and it comes to an end, you're like, oh, is that it? You know, whereas an album, I feel it's got like a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's got like a story to it. It's got a message to it. Whereas an EP, it can sometimes be cut short, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, for us, at least, well, for me, the album, should be telling a story or go somewhere. You know, I don't really like compilation recordings.
Yeah.
It's like bunch of, it's like a book. It has to start somewhere and end somewhere. It should bring you on that journey, so to say.
Sure. Well, listen, I'm absolutely delighted to hear that you're writing new material ready then, but how would you say it compares to All Light Swallowed then, and maybe even your debut album? Have you just...
It's different. I mean, my goal as a musician is never to repeat myself. So always progressing somewhere. It's still gonna be death metal.
Yeah.
But we just go deeper, deeper to see where we can go, because I think this style of music is limitless.
Yeah.
So you can add anything there, and you should.
Yeah.
I mean, of course it's personal preference. Some people like to be, traditionalists, and I'm okay with that, but not me. I mean, I'm trying always to evolve, so it will be quite different. But I mean, when you will listen, you could still say it's same band as you knew before, but just in like different clothes or whatever.
As long as you're not going to bring any glam metal influences into the band or anything like that.
Well, no, not really. That's not a part of interest, but it will be. It's gonna be more dynamic.
Okay.
More harsh, I could say.
Okay.
And darker, for sure. So that's the main goal.
So do you think this is because there's been a couple of band member changes then with the new guys coming in? Have they brought their own sound and influences into the band? Has that changed the writing a wee bit?
No, I mean, the drummer we changed, because there's some personal differences mostly, and the ability to play, because the All Light Swallowed that we released, that's the stuff on drums especially, is pretty demanding.
Yeah.
So we could not find, at least here, the person that could execute this in the way that we wanted to.
Yeah.
And guitar changes is also like nothing personal, but just differences or whatever, moving on with some other things. So basically that's mostly it. And to answer your question, no, I don't think so. It brought anything else, because the creative part might be a little bit different from the others.
Sure. Thanks very much for that, DA. So With everything that's happened over the last 18 months, 2 years, then, has it made you look at the more business side of the band to keep the name out there? Like, have you looked at, because obviously with your gigs being limited, and that's where you make your money from. CD sales, you're not really making money from that. Gigs and merch is where you get your income from. So has it made you look at the more business side of the band?
Well, mostly everything the label did for exposure and so on. Yeah, we did not play any gigs, like probably like most of the bands.
Yeah. And
well, internet and the label. That's mostly how we got our exposure this time. So
so it's brought it.
There's no other way.
It's brought it maybe more personal. Like, you have to do your bit as well to like ppromote what it is you do as well. Maybe you didn't have to do it as much before, but now you have to because of what's been happening.
Yeah, it's always like that. I mean, I personally like kind of manage this band, so I do all the contacts with everyone and all the media posting and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of work. Yeah. Really, a lot of work. From everything.
Yeah.
Even like, you know, adding like to the orders, like some personalized stuff and so on. Always trying to walk additional mile for anyone. So
yeah.
Well,
hopefully the rewards will come, but that's great. Thank you very much. So with the recording of All Like Swallowed In, was there anything that you'd done differently from the Stench of the Earth that you changed with All Like Swallowed? And
no.
Everything was the same?
No, yeah, it was the same, just basic, you know, going to the studio, material prepared, recording drums, guitars, bass, vocals, and so on. I mean, nothing changed much because, well, the next one probably would be different, but this time it was standard as usual. So.
Do you take care of everything yourself, like the production, the mixing, and all the rest of it, or are you going to get people to do it for you?
Since the time I started to learning sound engineering myself, and I started to studying this year at university. So probably I will record maybe most of the stuff myself.
Okay.
But with the mixing, probably hand it to another person, because, you know, when I'm creating all the stuff, you're listening over and over, and then you're recording it again and playing just can, you know, get burned over this. So in that case, it's hard to make some rational decisions regarding the sound and so on. So it's better just to leave it to the person that's professional and can do this, and, you know, has like outside perspective on the stuff.
Yeah.
So it could be better. So probably we'll handle it to another person. But with the recording and so on, we'll try to do ourselves this time.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you. So we were talking about the musicians there for a wee second. With BG being a long-time guitarist and leaving the band after 5 years, how did you go about getting TK into the band? And was it an easy transition?
Yeah, well, the coach of us, he's like old friend, and we started to play together in my other band called Embrace, which is kind of black and hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
So I just knew him for a long time, and when things started happening, the previous member, we just started to, you know, talk, discuss, and he really expressed the willingness to play. Yeah. And he was a fan before, and actually he was at our very, very first gig with Crypts. So he's like with the band from the beginning. Yeah. And you know, on the side, but he was, so it was pretty natural actually to just ask him to do this. So it was very easy, smooth, and he's a great addition as a person and as a guitar player. So
do you basically compile all the songs yourself?
Yes,
right.
I do.
So would you welcome contributions from other members of the band? Like, would you welcome TK to bring some things in?
Yeah, sure. I always say to the people, to the band members that if you have anything, just bring it on, just show me. Or we always discuss if there's something, that we can use or anything like that. I'm not that kind of person that, like dictatorship.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, but usually it happens that I just do the most of the stuff myself.
Yeah.
And then we discuss maybe details, some, to change some details and so on. But mostly it's like this. And usually they like what I do. And if they have something to add, they add, or they say it's not that good. So we just try to, adjust to that. But
yeah. Does it bring a lot of pressure onto yourself? Or are you quite happy to deal with it?
I don't know. I mean, in the beginning it was, because I used to jam a lot with the people in the room. And but since the drummer is from Estonia, it's like 700 kilometers away.
Yeah.
So we don't have this opportunity to get in the studio like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
It's like it happens once per 2-3 months at best. So I kind of used to that process and that method of creating and composing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it just I do not force myself to create. So when there is inspiration, then I do this.
Sure.
No.
So you're the type of guy that. Are you the type of guy that would send the guys a riff at 4 o'clock in the morning saying this is the best riff, this is a killer song? Are you the type of guy that does that?
Yes, actually it is. And I'm sending like a bunch of, okay, check this one. Then after like 10 minutes, okay, look, I changed this one. They get like tons of messages with different tracks. And yeah, it's exactly like that.
Good stuff. So it's been a difficult time for the last couple of years for bands not being able to play gigs then. You talk about trying to get in the rehearsal studio and things like that, or the studio every couple of months. Was there ever a thought of like doing a virtual gig and just setting the cameras up and doing a 30-40 minute set live on there?
I don't know. We had this in mind, but it's overdone already. Like every band does it, and we have like many other things to concentrate on.
Yeah.
And still, if we want to, we always, what we do, we try to do that in the highest quality possible.
Yeah.
So for like live streaming or so on, it takes a lot of preparation. So since we have many other things to do, we thought that let's leave it to the other bands.
Yeah.
So just we will concentrate on the other things coming up. We have a bunch of new material to rehearse, and we have now a few gigs coming up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's cool. It's just
on other things.
Like you say, I've seen a number of other bands doing it. The best one I saw, well, there was obviously Behemoth, but like a band like Ingested, for example, it was just amazing to watch. But there were some other low key ones as well, and I was like, did it really do your band justice doing that?
Yeah, that's the thing. When you see like Behemoth you mentioned, that's the thing you want to see when you see the live. I mean, I'm not against the people filming themselves when they play just standing, but we would like, if we would do that thing, we would like to offer something more for people than just watch 4 guys playing instruments.
Yeah.
And it takes time and money and effort and so on.
Yeah. So
we tend to, when we want to do something, we want it to have value and lasting value, not just one-off thing that everyone sees and forgets.
Yeah, sure. So talking about gigs then, with the world beginning to open up a wee bit again, then do you have anything planned for this year? Are you going to be on European festivals? Are you going to be on more tours as well?
Yeah, regarding the gigs, we finally decided to play here in our homeland.
Yeah.
The last time we played there was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So we plan like album presentation gigs, actually coming in next month.
Yeah.
2 of them. And then at least for now, it's one summer festival booked, but I cannot tell right now which one. But that's it for now. I mean, with the tours and the other festivals, it's pretty hard because since promoters, they don't know what's going to be the situation, and they more tend to book the bands that will bring people in, you know.
Yeah.
So they're going out for safety than risking, you know, taking the obscure band from Lithuania instead of someone from Sweden, you know, or whatever like that. So it's pretty hard, but we'll see. We would like to go on tour for sure. I mean, because we released an album, it's already, well, almost a year. In a couple of months will be, and we did not play any gigs with them, so it's a little bit feels like wasted.
Yeah.
So
I hear what you're saying. Like in Scotland, for example, from Monday, indoor gigs are open again. So there's a floodgate of gigs happening now. But what it did do last year with festivals like Bloodstock, there was another couple of festivals that I went to. It was strictly UK bands. And what it did was bring a lot of people to recognise that the UK, its own country, has a very, very strong metal scene. So I'm wondering if that's the same, what's happening in Lithuania, because I also do Moshville Radio and I play you guys every week. I have to play Choke by the Void every single week. I also play your brother's Sisyphean. I can't pronounce it. I think it's Sisyphean. Sisyphean, there you go. So is there a particularly strong metal scene in Lithuania as well? And did you organise more intimate gigs, just Lithuanian bands?
Yeah, well, Sisyphean is actually my ex-band. I played there.
Yes, I know.
Yes, and our guitarist now is playing bass there as well.
Yes.
So
I noticed that. Yeah.
We did not have many gigs actually. Last year it was like one off, but I can tell that it's kind of the same because now people are also more concentrating on the our scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did have one gig in a big place with only Lithuanian bands, and it surprisingly brought a lot of people. So it showed that we have also good things in our scene and we should look into it. So yes, I would say it's kind of the same.
Good, excellent. Well, hopefully that brought a lot of new people liking Crypts of Despair. So when you do your mini tour of Lithuania, then you'll get a good attendance, a good show. People are just crying out for gigs.
Well, we'll see. That's a thing, because at first we thought to make solo gigs, like just us playing there.
Yeah.
But then there's another band that are a good friend of ours, and we planned for many years to play together, but we never did. So we thought that's a good opportunity to do that, and we agreed to play with them. So we'll see. It will be interesting because as we don't really know like exact our situation or our place in the scene.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, best of luck to you when it does happen.
Yeah, thank you. If it will happen, so that's
I'm sure it will happen.
Questionable right now.
Yeah.
We hope so.
Hopefully 2022 is a year where the world, because it's not going to go anywhere. It's now just going to be like the common cold, you know. If you've been vaccinated and things like that, it's just you won't be affected as much. So
it seems endless, but
yeah,
it will end someday.
Sure. So thank you. So with yourself and SJ being the vocalist of the band, then do you both do the lyrics for the songs, or do you welcome contributions from the other band members, or do you do the music and the lyrics?
On the first album, I did not do any lyrics. Mostly Simonas did, because like he's a good writer in general, and he likes to write, and that's one of the ways of him expressing like himself.
Yeah.
And the previous guitarist did a couple of lyrics, and on the new one, on the All I Swallow, I started to write some, so I did like 2 songs, and the others were written by Simonas.
Cool.
Yeah, so all the contributions are welcome, and well, of course, the lyrics are also mostly he writes the initial idea of, usually like sometimes I describe what I want to, the song to be about, and since like he's my best friend and we know each other very well, so I don't really need to guide him, mostly because he writes good stuff, and it's like, okay, that's exactly what I wanted to say. So he speaks me on that level.
Is it sometimes difficult if he writes the lyrics, or if you write the lyrics? If you write the lyrics for SJ as well, is it sometimes difficult to convey how you want them to sing it? Like, I imagine if you're writing the lyrics of the song, you're also imagining how they're going to be sung. But is it sometimes...
That's one of the harder parts, because for example, when I write the music, I never think about the vocals.
Okay.
Where they should be and so on. Same about the lyrics, at least for my side.
Yeah.
I write the lyrics and then you adapt them to this song. I'm not sure about Simonas. Maybe he thinks sometimes about which words could be placed. I'm not entirely sure about this.
Yeah. Cool.
But usually there is like, okay, here are the lyrics, and let's see where we can add them onto the song. So that's quite, maybe it's not the best way to compose. It's always like probably better to write the lyrics according to the song or the riffs, but it's opposite.
Yeah.
So we sometimes struggle, but usually so far
there's no fights about it. That's fine.
Yes, that's one of the goals.
So one of the things I say in the radio show every week, especially after I play Choked by the Void, is the power and the diversity of having 2 vocalists in a band. Especially when I see it in a live front, I think it just adds so much diversity to a song, and it's just awe-inspiring seeing 2 different vocal styles. But I love your deep, dark growls as well. How did you keep your vocals in check over the last 18 months, 2 years with no practice whatsoever?
It's a lot of suffering. I mean, it took some time to learn this. Because there were many times that after like one rehearsal or one gig, I could not talk, and was damaging my vocal cords and so on. But through pain and practice, I learned to control it in some way. Yeah, and to be able to not to guess out after one gig. So and now it's just come to rehearsal. Might be the first set that when we do it a little bit rough. Yeah. But then you get your voice in position, and you can go on. Cool. I mean, but no specific practices or so on. Yeah. Nothing. Just interviewed Dan Swano, and he says he can't do growls anymore because as soon as he does a growl, he just gets an instant headache. So it takes a lot out of a vocalist doing growls for like a 40-minute set or whatever like that. But no, I was just wondering whether you practice at home, whether you sing in the shower or in the car. No, I mean, when I'm studying, I have some from my subjects that deals with a little bit of the singing. Yeah. So that probably a little bit helped because they taught me a little bit about the correct breathing.
Yeah.
And how you should open up your diaphragm and so on. So you get headaches and sore throat from wrong technique.
Yeah,
I could say. So if you do that correctly or in the correct way, you should be fine.
Cool. Thank you for that. So you've been signed to Transcending Obscurity. Kunal and Transcending Obscurity they always find these bands from nowhere that nobody's found, and they just elevate them. So how did you come about being sent to Transcending, and how's the relationship been so far, and what do you hope that Transcending Obscurity will bring to Crypts of Despair?
Well, it was actually nothing like too much in particular. When we had a new album, we just sent to everyone.
Yeah.
Like we always like did, like any label we can find, from fucking Nuclear Blast to whatever smallest label we can find.
Yeah.
And we see who answers. And it was that he answered with the album offer, the contract offer, like the next day. And we were, okay, that was fast, because it never happens when usually you send something like album to the label with the proposal of being there. It takes months usually to get answer, but he answered like in the next day. We were, okay, that was fast. And we wait a little bit. We discussed the contract, the like possibilities, what we can do, and how many releases. And he seemed like genuine guy.
Yeah.
Who like really enjoys the music first, and he releases the stuff that he likes specifically.
Yeah.
And he's like a big fan of music himself. So all the details in the contract and how we're gonna work seemed like a pretty good deal for us.
Yeah.
And we agreed to work with him. And well, he did a pretty good job, I would say, because the album went really well. He got a lot of exposure, way more than with the previous label.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it go. It's during these times, it's hard to fully see all the potential that he could bring still, but so far so good.
Excellent, thank you. So you've released a video for Choke by the Void. I keep saying To the Void, it's By the Void. I also noticed that you've done a guitar playthrough as well, but do you see another video coming from the All Eight Swallowed album to conclude the visual side of the album?
We thought about it. We would love to do more videos, but it takes money. It costs. If you want to make a good video, it's not $100 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's way more. And we thought about it, but it's already, I think maybe it's a little bit too late maybe for a new video.
Okay.
So probably we'll stick now to new material, and we'll see what we can do with that. Because those things we usually like to plan ahead, and now it's like we're discussing like maybe it's too late now for another video.
Yeah.
It's still we're discussing this, but we are like leaning more to new stuff. So we are looking for the future, let's say.
Well, who knows, if you're going to be doing that, these gigs in Lithuania, you can maybe have a live video. Who knows?
We'll see. It's hard.
You're not shutting the door on the idea anyway, so.
No. Also, it's up to ideas as well, because we were thinking about the video, but as I said, like we want to make something different again.
Yeah.
For that, we need ideas. We don't want just another video guys playing with the instruments in some alley or basement. So we'll see, but I doubt that we're gonna do this.
Yeah, No worries, thank you. I've only got a couple of questions left, so thank you very much for your time so far.
No promise.
But I might be showing my age here a wee bit. Before the internet, magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion's been lost, or do you think that the interest has been, the internet has been a good thing for music and a good thing for Crypts of Despair?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe double-edged sword, because it's at the same time, it's very easy to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you gotta fight with every other person, every other band that do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it also helps a lot, and sometimes it doesn't. So
yeah. It's like we were talking about earlier. Like I was brought up in an age where CDs should be burned. You know, it was all cassettes and vinyl. You know, but now vinyl is outselling CDs again. But then again, when you release your music on Bandcamp or whatever like that, you can see in which countries in the world you've got a fan base. You know, so it's interesting to see these obscure countries finding your music.
Yes, I don't have an access to Bandcamp because it's operated by the label, but I do have access to Spotify. So basically I have all the statistics. So it's very, very interesting to see where people listen to. So we got that statistics for the whole year. So last year we've been played in 65 countries. So that's quite a lot. And we saw like some from Zimbabwe to whatever, Germany, United States, and so on. And we can see the charts where like we're like the most countries like people listen them. To us. So it's quite interesting.
I noticed that you played England a couple of years ago. Did you actually venture further north into Scotland?
No, we played in I think it's 2017 in London. We played at Grave Miasma 50-year anniversary. So just that was just one off. I mean, we know people from the band, and we just wrote to them. It's like, maybe we would like to play. Maybe you have a spot place there. They said, yeah, sure, why not? And we agreed, and we did there. So
they never disappoint live. Grave Miasma are brilliant live. Never disappoint.
Yeah, for sure. We organized their gig in Lithuania in Armageddon Descent Festival quite a while ago. So been in contact with many of the scene scene people. So we did just a one-off there. Yeah.
Well, hopefully in the next year or so or whatever like that, you'll be able to venture further north in England and come to Scotland as well. So, and further afield.
See. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea what's now the situation with going to UK with all the Brexit stuff. So I have no idea what are like now situation there. Do you have to get visas or not? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I spoke with a little bit with the one Scottish band that we are friends of, Scordatura.
Yes.
Yeah, so we spoke with I think it's with Daryl. Vocalist.
Daryl Boyce. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like I know him for quite a while, so we spoke something about that, but nothing much.
Well, again, there's a good Scottish scene up here. Scordatura, Bloodthread, you've got Party Cannon as well. So there's a good Scottish extreme metal scene up here. So hopefully that'll happen one time. But it's just the last question for you then, and it's probably the one that we'll talk about for the next hour. What guitars what did you use for the recording? What's your setup for your guitar and the live front? What do you use, pedals, etc.?
Okay.
It's the immolation one at the back, isn't it?
Yes, so this one, as you can see, it's 7-string custom-made guitar that one luthier made for me. It was I had in mind just to have specifically for this band, this guitar. Yeah. So it's very simple setup. It's one pickup, one volume knob, nothing else. Okay. No Floyd Royce, nothing, just a tail stop. And with Zimmer Duncan Nazgul pickup. So that's basically
nice.
And
did you always want
made for it?
Did you always want a 7-string rather than just the basic 6?
Actually, when I went to UK, one of the purposes I had in mind to make some money and buy a guitar.
Okay.
And since I like new things all the time, so I bought my first 7-string guitar there.
Okay.
And since we tune very low, because of the intonation and tuning stability, I thought that would be a good idea to have 7-string.
Cool.
So that's why I bought it, and also it provided with one more string, so a little bit more possibilities on the melodies and different chords that I could, play.
Yeah.
And just it stuck with us. So I'm not against playing low tuning with the 6-string guitar, but just it's been for so long. And
are you going to go one more and go for the 8? Do a Portal? No.
Well, there was basically thoughts about it, because we're gonna change tuning basically on the new material.
Okay.
Tuning that could 8 strings would help, but no, we thought it's a bit too much. There is a baritone guitars for that, so yeah, we're gonna stick to the 7-string.
Cool. That's one of the things I love about Crypt of Despair. It's the brutality, but it's mixed with the melodies. I love the riffs in Choked by the Void. I've listened to the album, but Choked by the Void is a standout track for me, and I play it every week. Mm-hmm. So just keep on doing shit like that, and
yeah, I'm sure the melody itself is very important.
Yeah.
That what brings emotion and atmosphere to the track, and more depth, and more. It's like another like voice as well. So yeah. I don't know, just it's always been for the melody for me, the music in general. Yeah. Since the vocals are not that melodic.
Yeah.
So kind of compensated with the guitar.
Did you yourself in your younger life start off with things like Bon Jovi and Def Leppard, and you've just progressed to extreme, or was it always like Sepultura, Slayer? And
yes. It was always like that. So basically, when I started into this music, I was like 7 years old, and basically my father is metalhead in a sense. Okay. So I remember I lived in a small town when I was born in Lithuania, in a very small town. And when I was very young, I could not go outside when my parents were working, because it was like pretty dangerous at the time.
Okay.
So I was stuck at home while they were working, and my father had the CDs and a CD player.
Yeah.
And all he had, I remember, was Metallica, Creator, Sepultura.
Excellent.
So I just put it on, and I started from that, and it just got worse over the time. So So later when I started to discover more, when I got internet and so on, then I started to get into other music as well. And,
yeah. So you've been playing air guitar since the age of 7, then?
I don't remember that. Could be. I don't know. But I actually started to play guitar pretty late, I could say, because I started to learn guitar when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
So it was way up, after I've been into music.
Oh, you must be a fast learner, because you're certainly doing it. You must be chuffed in actually releasing 2 albums and seeing the physical product and saying that was me. So
yeah, that was actually when I started the band. That was my dream, to hold my own, products, and it was because I'm always into physical format, because it's when you hold the LP or CD or cassette, you can see the band's effort, and how they represent themselves. What they do, you can even smell the packaging and so on. It's all adds to the experience of music itself.
Yeah. So
you
see the band photo and you go, that's me.
Well, not bad, but it's still just to have your music cemented into somewhere, it's pretty good. So I'm very happy that I'm able to do this.
Yeah. Well, listen, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having this chat with you. I must admit, I was nervous for this because I've done nothing but speak highly of you, and I must admit, I might be becoming like a wee fan, So just please keep on doing what you're doing. I'm eagerly awaiting to see what you guys do next, and hopefully I'll get to see you live on the gig front one day, and I'll get the first round in when that happens.
Thank you very much for this interview, for the opportunity. I mean, we all of us, we really appreciate every small thing that you say, that you support us, so it means a lot to us, and thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. And it all adds up, doesn't it? It all adds up to get the big goal, get out in big tours. All adds up, so every little helps.
Yes. Thank you for supporting, for doing this radio thing. It's real great, and it always adds up to the scene, and thank you once again.
We get there. Thank you very much.